Duval County's unemployment rate right now, 4.9%. That was April of this year. And many people are still looking for jobs. So with us today, we have professional speaker, executive coach, Snowden McFall, and she is here to discuss how to talk about networking and how to get the most from those moments when you network. Can I tell you a little secret?
Yes.
I don't like networking.
You're kidding, really?
I don't.
You and I met through networking.
We did. I remember that. But you know why? You know why it was special? I felt like we had a genuine conversation.
Yes.
And sometimes when I walk into a networking event, I feel like, oh, I have to have this, like, I have to have a beginning, middle, and end. But sometimes it just happens very naturally. So that's the way I like it.
Yeah, well, you want to be authentic. I mean, everybody wants real people that they deal with. But when you're looking for a job, you also want to be prepared.
Yeah, and strategic a little bit, right?
Very strategic, absolutely. I mean, one of the best ways you've got to do that is you've got to reach out and ask for help when you're starting to look for a job. Tell everybody that you know that you're looking for a job and get referrals, but you also want to scope out meetings and places where you can network and socials, because Jacksonville is a networking town. You could go morning, noon, and night.
Really could, yeah.
To a different networking function. Yeah.
I do notice too, a lot of people now are just kind of putting it out there on social media. I saw one the other day, she was like, I've been out of work for 6 months.
Right.
You know, do you know anyone who needs a quirky, you know, and they lay out there who they are, what their skills are. And I do see some people saying, like, DM me, you know, give me a call.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't seen much of that, but that's neat.
I'm thinking of one in particular, and she is quirky, and I'm like, I bet, you know, someone who might need that personality, that might really work for her. So it's kind of like ask for help, you know, find those people who can help you out.
Right.
So once you are there, let's say an event, like you said, you could do it morning, noon, and night. How should you kind of begin that process? Because it does feel a little awkward, especially when you walk in and you don't really know anybody.
Right, well, and you've got to make sure you also have printed business cards, because, and even though you're out of work, you can get them printed inexpensively online. On the back of your business card, list your skill sets. This is an example here. And so you want to have that, and you want to get yourself into the right state. So you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So what you've got to do physically is we're going to get back here. Yeah, this comes from
okay, guys?
Amy Cuddy's research. Okay, she's a sociologist. You can find her TED Talk. It's about power poses.
Yeah.
So this is Wonder Woman.
Oh, this is Wonder Woman. Okay.
Or Superman.
Okay.
So you know, you've heard this before. Several of us have heard it. We've talked about it for years, but it works. Here's what the research is. If you get into this posture for 2 minutes, you actually shift the cortisol, the stress hormone levels, into serotonin, the feel-good ones, and your confidence increases.
You know, so you got to stand, because right now I'm like worried about my jacket, I'm worried about all of this. So
you don't do it at the networking function. You do it 2 minutes in the ladies' room or the men's room before you go.
Right, but it is, and confidently, shoulders back, you know,
shoulders
hands on those
back,
hips.
hands on the hips, knees slightly bent, and you are projecting confidence because that's what works.
Right, and tell yourself good things when you're in that position too.
That's
because we can do that self-talk that sometimes doesn't go so well.
Yeah, and you want to have reached out ahead of time to this organization, to their president, and let them know that you're new and that you're coming and you would appreciate their help. So when you get there, the first thing you do is you go introduce yourself to the president and ask them to introduce you to a couple people, and aim for 3 to 4 meaningful conversations, not 25 business cards, but 3 to 4 meaning. That's what we had. We had that meaningful conversation.
And I loved it because I felt like it was a safe place. Yeah. I don't know if I talked to you too long, but you know, it felt, and I necessarily didn't maybe hit as many people because there was a meaningful conversation going on. Yeah.
And years later, we're still
we still keep in touch.
That's right.
Great resource. Also dressing for the part, right?
Yes, dress for the job that you want. So this woman is dressed beautifully. She's poised. She's smiling. You want to smile. Your smile is so magnetic.
So true.
And you want to have your shoulders back, and you want to dress for the job that you want, and have a strong handshake. You know, I met a young woman last week, and her handshake was like a fish.
You remember that?
Oh man! And inside
I
had compassion for it. No, because she was with a group. I didn't want to embarrass her.
Yeah, that would have been.
But normally I would. But you want to have a strong, firm handshake. Show your confidence.
I do believe in a smile, right? I think it makes all the difference. And even if I'm feeling a little low inside, I can put a smile on, and it kind of can change the energy.
That's right.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then you want to have an elevator speech prepared.
Yeah, tell me about that.
It's like something along the lines of, Over the past several years, I've worked in such and such industry, specializing in so and so, whatever your expertise is, and I'm looking for the right place to share my talents and to be part of a team.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
just because I've heard
put it
1
out there.
minute, but that's a bit long probably. So but what you did was about maybe 20 seconds of a quick little.
Right, and then, and you can, but show enthusiasm.
Right.
You know, enthusiasm is that one thing that sets you apart from everybody else. You were talking about that woman online. She had passion. Show your enthusiasm, show that you're interested, and then follow up afterwards.
Okay.
One of the most important things people forget to do. If you meet somebody great, send them a thank you email later that day, attach your resume, ask them to share it with someone they know, and then start adding value. Write them a handwritten note, send them articles about their industry and about what they talked about.
Yeah.
Send them cards, stay in touch.
I love it. I mean, you do have to kind of be a little aggressive, you know.
Yeah.
I got my first job, she said I was pleasantly persistent.
There you go. I
You
love
know?
that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Because I would just call and be like, hey, what's going on? But it just, and you really have to kind of get over yourself to do this
You do
stuff.
have to do
Your
that.
ego has to shrink a little bit because you may not hear back. And
That's
that's
right.
okay, because when you do hear back, it could be the perfect job.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
But you got to put yourself out there with enthusiasm.
Yeah, one other thing I did just want to note, because I love this, you said, you know, don't do all the talking. You know, don't feel like you have to over talk.
Oh, no, don't do all the talking. In fact, you should be listening most of the time. You should ask a bunch of questions. Ask them how they got into the industry. What changes have they seen in the industry? What would be a good client for them so you could refer business to them?
Yeah.
So just ask them a bunch of questions, and then you don't talk until they ask you about you.
I love that. It takes the pressure off of you too.
Yeah.
I did this the other day at an event, and I actually listened to a podcast before I went,
Yeah.
and that was it. It was like you ask them questions, and then I was like, and then when they came back to me, I was able to briefly answer, but then I'm like, let's talk more about you.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
it was more pleasant.
And then you make notes on the back of their business card. You
Okay,
get their
right
business
after.
card, break notes so that you know what to refer to.
Not in front of them though.
No, not in front of them after you get back. But like maybe they mentioned that their son is graduating. We were just
Right.
talking about your son.
Yeah.
So they could send a graduation card.
Yeah,
That would
it
set
goes
them
a long
apart.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just the little things make a big difference.
All right, good luck with that networking. Know that you are not alone if this doesn't feel comfortable, but it is okay sometimes to be uncomfortable, especially when you're ready to go to that next level.
That's right.
All right, Sonia, thanks for joining us
That's
today.
totally my pleasure.
All right, that's going to do it for the news at 10:30, but stand by. You know what's next, the Weather Authority Weekday.